The Uganda we want. So mu Uganda gye twagala mu lutalo luno olw'okulwanyisa obulabbayo obukenuzi nze kyempita obuvundu. Munna Uganda alina okuba nga yeenyigiramu. Ffenna twenyigire mu lutalo.
Ate abalala tebasomye kuzimba wabula bayize okuzimba.
Uganda gye twagala okulaba ng'enguudo zonna nkole nungi, public transport nga weeri.
Kati eno gavumenti eriwo erina akabonero ka Lucifer. Buli kyotunulako mu Uganda kiriko oxygen. Either babika amawulire malungi oba mawulire mabi. Minisita teyeetaagisa kabangali budde buno zaaki.
At this time, why should somebody import furniture from outside Uganda? Let us leave NRM to be in charge for another 36 years or more.
I really want to see a Uganda that believes in the rule of law. If you have a constitution in place, follow it to the letter. Don't change laws just because you want them to favor you.
Kuba njagala omanye nti obugagga bwonna Uganda bwe yeeyagaliramu buyita waffe ku ttaka lyaffe. Naye busoga mugidibaze.
How can a referral hospital refer you to a private clinic? The Uganda we want buli muntu ateekwa okumanya nti I am a stakeholder, nkwatibwako si kwesuulirayo gwa naggamba.
Uganda oyinza okukakana nga mwe mulina ba graduates aba university nga bangi okusinga Ebungereza. Mwe mufokasinga nnyo ku degree. Eri bo bafokasinga nnyo nti byensomye mbijeemu omulimu n'enkola.
We are dreaming of a Uganda where at a young age there is such a relationship between parent and son, parent and daughter, where the daughter can say this is what I want.
Uganda gye twagala empya tesobola kubeerawo nga tewali mateeka. Amateeka agakola.
The Uganda we want. Welcome to the program, The Uganda we want. My name is Robert Malanzi. I'm so happy to be with you at this particular time, talking about the Uganda we want. Everywhere you are, thank you so much for keeping it right here on Dream TV and Impact FM. Today on the program, we have General Elly Tumwiine. And he is going to give you the Uganda he envisions, the Uganda he wants to see. For you who is, following us on all our social media platforms, we believe that when you send your comments, definitely we'll be able to read them and also share them with Geno if possible. But still, let's keep the discussion going on all our social media platforms. Geno, it is a pleasure to have you on the show, The Uganda we want. Could you please greet our listeners and viewers?
Well, dear viewers, Ugandans and those beyond, what a wonderful opportunity to talk about the Uganda we want. I'm glad it is the Uganda we want, not I want, because it varies. If I said Uganda I want, it may not be the Uganda we all want. And therefore, I like the question, or I like the subject, the Uganda we want. And I am deliberately, because I could tell you the Uganda I want, but that would be very selfish. And that would be limiting myself to myself and my own limitations. But when you talk of the Uganda we want, it means you are conscious and deliberate about what would be the Uganda that would make all of us happy. And I will want to start looking at this subject from 3 words. And I want you to see, these have nothing to do with each one's wishes.
Or maybe before you give us those 3 words,
yes,
let me just remind our viewers, just in case you've just joined us, we did an intro about Geno, but let me just remind you that we are with General Elly Tumwiine. He is a Ugandan military officer, professional artist, educator, former Minister of Security, and he has been representing the UPDF in Parliament since 1986, and currently as well, he is the Presidential Advisor on matters of security. He has served the country in many dignitaries, so we are glad to have him today. So as we begin the Uganda we want, I wanted you to know whom we have today in the program. So, you can proceed.
And I have seen some days in this Uganda, which I love. The Uganda I love. I wrote a poem sometime back, end of the other year, of the Uganda I love. So I was going to tell you that I want you to start our discussion with 3 words to keep remembering and which will guide us in whatever we talk about, what we want, what we like, what we want to see, what we would wish to see, the Uganda we would want. And the 3 words are things, which in Uganda you could call it ebintu, things. That word things, everything, dead or alive, is a thing. You are a thing, I'm a thing, this table is a thing, your pen is a thing, the camera is a thing.
And the book.
The book is a thing, the microphone is a thing. Everything, look at it, is a thing. So, in life, Uganda itself is a thing, a country called Uganda, a thing. The second word is values. Values, values, values. Everything has its own value. Everything according to its design. Me, I'm an artist, so I am always conscious about designing. Everything according to its design has its own unique value. Whether it is a stone, it has its unique value. Whether it is this table, it has its unique value. Whether it is a living thing, it has its unique value. And for living things, the unique value is so clear in the creation of all those living things that each living thing has its own DNA, different from another. Even if you are twins, even if the same tree, the leaves are different from one another. That uniqueness is because each one has its unique value. So the second word is value or values. The third word is sharing. Sharing. Anything with its own value, whether dead or alive, if it is not shared, it is useless, it is worthless, it is as good as not there. If you have a pen and you keep it in the cupboard and you don't use it, it's as good as not there. If you have a message, you have knowledge and you don't share it, you can die, you shall die with that knowledge, and therefore it is useless. If you have a camera which does not take photographs, that camera is useless. So, things, their values are supposed to be shared. Now we are here to share a very important discussion and message on the Uganda we want to see, the Uganda we want, the Uganda we would love. And me, I have a song about our country.
You're an artist who doesn't, stop at just painting pictures, but as well singing.
You see, everyone is an artist, but some people concentrate on it. Just like everyone is mad, but some people concentrate on
the degree.
They pay attention to madness more than others. Now, my song about Uganda is our beautiful country, our country Uganda, of milk and honey, full of fresh water, fresh air, fauna and flora, full of sunshine, the Pearl of Africa. And if you go on YouTube or internet and you ask Ainunu or songs of General Tumwiine'S, you'll see that song. It talks about our beautiful country, our country Uganda, of milk and honey, full of fresh water, fresh air, fauna and flora, full of sunshine, the Pearl of Africa. So, Uganda, to start from, is, before you say the Uganda we want, you should talk about the Uganda we have.
Why? Why do you want us to talk about the Uganda we have?
If you don't love what you have, if you don't know how to use what you have, if you don't enjoy what you have, and you only wish with what you don't have, you only look for what you don't have, you only aspire to get what you don't have, you are a poor person. A rich person is he who enjoys what he has. And it is a person who first knows what he has. Because we cannot say, let's enjoy what we don't have. We have sunshine, we have water, we have fresh air, we have fauna and flora, we have the best temperatures that go between 21 and 27 or 29 maximum most of the time. So you have first to say the Uganda we have. And changing that alone will help us to see how best can we use what we have to get what we want.
You've talked about changing what we have. What do you mean by that?
Not changing. I have said using. Using what we have, what is available to us to achieve what we want. And that's why I'm saying the beautiful Uganda, our country Uganda, is so good that we can make it. We should keep making it better and better and better. And for whatever you want, the most important thing for you to do whatever you want to do is peace. Peace be with you. Whoever you are, tell your neighbor, whoever you are, tell your neighbor that peace be with you. And why peace? You know all greetings. Good morning. Wasuzotya. Mulembe.
Abari.
Abari is finding out whether you are at peace. Shalom. They are all saying, Salam alaikum. All those is salam. Do you have peace? Do you have peace with you? As a primary and most important requirement for whatever you want to do. And that's why it is important to, the Uganda I want first and foremost is a peaceful Uganda. We need a peaceful Uganda. So that every Ugandan feels at peace. And when you see a country which is not at peace, people are running away from it. Now, the Uganda we want is where people will run to.
Not run from.
Not run from.
Okay.
Why? Because it shows that it is the Uganda that people admire. It is the Uganda people want to be in. It is the Uganda, it is the country in which people feel happy, comfortable. It is this friendly Uganda that welcomes visitors. It is this friendly Uganda that is happy. You know why Winston Churchill called Uganda the Pearl of Africa? You should read how Churchill described Uganda. He said, I have traveled across the world, and he had traveled. But he says, I have never seen a country so beautiful, so good, so glamorous, so whose people are so happy and welcoming.
Receptive. People are very receptive.
Now, the Uganda we want is that one which will make everybody peaceful. Everybody feels peaceful. Everybody feels no fear. You know, you sleep and wake up in the morning and life is as good as you left it yesterday or better. So that there is no insecurity, there is no fear. That is the first and foremost for anything you want to do. As long as you're not breaking the rules. Of course, the other one is a country where people are not only peaceful, but are living in harmony with one another. That's why we started with the Uganda we want, not the Uganda
you want.
Me, I would want something, but somebody does not agree with it. The important thing is the Uganda we want is where we may not have to agree, but we live together in harmony.
Okay, harmonious nation. Well,
harmonious nation.
Before that, General, how can we achieve a peaceful Uganda that you've talked about?
Yes, let me tell you how people become what they are. I usually say people, we are what we know. That sentence is very important. Those who are watching us, write it down. We are what we know. We become what we see, what we hear, what we experience, and most important of all, what we do about it.
After seeing,
you first,
you hear,
you are what we know. For you, what you have known. To know you are taught. To know you experience. To know you go through. To know you listen. To know you hear and see. Then you know. So we are what we know. Now, how do people know? For any society, generation to generation, knowledge, knowing, wisdom, understanding, actually they follow in order. There is information, which is different from knowledge. There is information, being informed. There is knowing. There is understanding. And then there is wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yes.
The last one is wisdom.
The last one is wisdom. Banyankwere koleta okusobolokerwa.
Wano tugayita amagezi.
Si magezi goka, magezi si okusobolokerwa is more. Wisdom is more than understanding, than knowing, than information. Now, a country where knowledge is shared from those who know to those who need to know. And that brings in the importance of education. Mahatma Gandhi was asked a question when he had grown old. They asked him that as an old person, as somebody who has been leading his country, up to now they call him the father of the nation of India, what are the 3 most important things that a government should do for its people? He kept quiet a bit and said, number 1, education. Number 2, education. Number 3, education.
Education.
So education. The Uganda I want is that one which really is continuously educating Ugandans and others and who live in Uganda to have a common focus. Then they were not satisfied with the answer. They said, in education, what are the 3 most important subjects we should teach? He pondered a little bit longer. As an old person, he said, in education, the most important 3 things are, number 1, moral values. Number 2, moral values. Number 3, moral values. It brings us to the other word of values. You remember?
On the 3 words that you talked about.
On the 3 words. These things which are here are things, but the most important thing are their values. In the values, there are different values. But there is moral values. Moral values, which is the most important of all the things you teach. You teach moral values. So he shortened the whole discussion. The Uganda I want, or the Uganda we need, is that one which promotes moral values to create harmony and love. You know the most important thing.
Harmony and love.
You see, the most important in I've been researching about the most beautiful things in the world. Do you know them?
What are those?
Some people are just chasing money. They are just the beautiful things in the world, which are hugs, smiles, laughter, family, happy memories, love.
Even love is inclusive.
It is the one which binds them all. Love is the one which brings the family together. Love is the one which gives you happy memories. Love is the one which gives you a smile. Love is the one which gives you a laughter. And love is the one which you use to hug. Those are the most beautiful things in the world. But their binder is love. When we go to the Bible, for you who want the Uganda you love, or the Uganda you want, love is the most important of all things. If I prefer using the Bible, which I enjoy these days. 1 Corinthians chapter 13.
Do you mean you used not to enjoy the Bible?
I keep enjoying it more and more and more. I read a bit about even the Quran. I read some things. But because I had a friend who was helping me to read, and eventually I got the translation in English. But the Bible, which I've been reading since I was a child, in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it talks about what love is. But in the last verse of 13, it says, hope and faith and love are all great things. But the greatest of them all is
love.
Love. Everything, if you think about it, every relationship, the foundation of it is love. So, a loving Uganda, love God with all your heart and with all your mind and with all your soul. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, that one, those are the two commandments, the greatest of them all. In all religions, by the way, loving God and loving your neighbor. But the condition of your neighbor is after you love yourself. You are the standard. If you don't love yourself,
it begins with you.
It begins with you. Peace begins with you. Security begins with you. Love begins with you. Then you share it. The word sharing now comes.
The third word.
The third word.
Jen, you've shared a lot of things to us, but I want to take you back a little bit. You were talking about the Uganda you want that is peaceful, and asked you how can we achieve a peaceful Uganda. And you brought in harmony, and then you went also to...
I'm telling you how you gain knowledge, how you gain understanding, how you gain wisdom. Through education and emphasizing specific subjects.
In education.
In education. These ones are not limiting the different subjects, science, history, geography. No. All of them, whichever subject, need to have one great subject called moral values. Why? For anybody to be a good citizen, he must have strength of the police of the mind. You must strengthen the police of the mind. All religions, all parents, all teachers, all good leaders, the greatest thing they always want and they should always do is to strengthen your police of the mind.
How?
Whether spiritually, whether militarily, whether even in business, the police of the mind is the one which guards you from disrupting, disturbing, spoiling the harmony, spoiling the peace, spoiling the love between human beings. And that's why all religions, all parents, all teachers, all leaders who love their people and who love their country talk to you to avoid sin. Even in our Lord's Prayer, do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Every person, if he is guided from evil, then you have a peaceful and harmonious, loving country. Then the rest will follow, I tell you. Then prosperity is a result of those. If you have love, if you have joy, and you really love and enjoy. You know, some people don't enjoy even what is there. They don't enjoy the sunshine. They don't enjoy the fresh air. They don't enjoy the fresh air. They don't enjoy the organic food we have here. They are hankering for things even which are not around. They are going for dead food, which is killing them. They are trying to copy what is not necessary. All that is because people are not aware. Either they are ignorant or they are greedy. They are living what is valuable, and they are going for things which are not in the interest of the general public.
The police of the mind is not strengthened.
The police of the mind, when the police of the mind is not strengthened, It is subject to being swept when the wind comes. Whichever wind that comes takes them here and there, makes them commit sins here and there. The police on the roadblock, our policemen, whom we have, it will be very difficult for us to get enough policemen to guard every person. They only arrest on the roadblock, they arrest the most unfortunate ones, very few. But the majority of the criminals are at large. Their society is guarded by the police of the mind. And that's why we need to lay our biggest emphasis. Every leader, the Uganda I want. The other day I was discussing with somebody, I said, now, I wish I could request every person, sit down and write his book of, if I was the president, what would I do?
If you were the president.
If I was the president. Or ask him, write down, if you are the prime minister, what would you do? You write. If you are the minister,
what would you do?
If you are the headmaster, if you are the CEO of a company, if you were in charge of, what would you do? Because we blame, we complain, and we take much emphasis on those. But the whole subject is very simple. You don't have to bother. Strengthen the police of the mind for the values that you think are very important.
So do you mean that we begin that from the education system and
yes.
how?
Yes, I was coming to that's why I'm emphasizing the point of education. You cannot catch flu, you cannot catch being a good person like you catch flu. That you are a good a person with dignity and it catches you like flu. No. It must be a deliberate effort from childhood. You know, where was this person brought up? How was this person brought up? The values you get right from your parents, by the way, even when you are still in the stomach.
Not when you're born.
If your mother is a smoker, a drunkard, a what, it affects you when you are still in the stomach. So, once you are in this world, how you are brought up from your parents, from your home, from your family, how you are brought out by your teachers. These days, children are taken to boarding schools in nursery.
Kindergarten,
boarding schools. How you are given those values at this age is what we should lay emphasis on. The Uganda I want, we would want, is when every person is brought up with those values. If we talk about the national vision, actually the national vision lacks one aspect.
The Vision 2040?
Vision 2040 and even the Vision 2030, they all did not bring out the importance of vision, of values. Rather, in that vision, of strengthening
values.
Of the values. How do you have a society how would a society which has no values achieve whatever? They can't.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, are we still on that social, economic path?
You see,
in regard to Vision 2040?
There's a lot of excitement about money. This question of rushing for money. Look at the history of nations. History of nations which emphasized values and strict discipline prospered more than those which chased money just for the sake of grabbing money. We up to now blame the colonialists and the imperialists and the what. All of them became prosperous. We have countries, especially in Europe, who are ruling the world, but because I am most likely they were not following the values, they were not emphasizing, they were following about exploiting the weak, they didn't go very far. But countries which were strict on the issue of moral values, on strictness, on fighting corruption, on strengthening the police of the mind. It starts with the individual. You who should love yourself, you are the same person who puts water in your head, knowing that water kills your brain.
And your lungs.
And when you put it in, instead of walking straight, you start walking like this, like that. You know it, but you put it there. You know there is a disease, and you go to it because you want short-term pleasure, like HIV and others. You know that stealing they will kill you. You go and steal, and they catch you. You leave what you are supposed to do because your police of the mind is not strengthened. I can give you a very living example. This UPDF, the revolution from NASA, NRA, UPDF, NRM, has been built on our strict discipline right from our code of conduct. And it took us those 5 years. You know, you people, you think we were just firing bullets. I have said this many times. Much of the fighting we did was sitting with his people, with our president present. Most of the time throughout the 5 years, from morning to evening, from evening to midnight, every day, discussing this same subject.
The Uganda we want.
The Uganda we want. Tusonge, mpaka Kampala. Kampala was very far. Even when we were near Matuga, but of course it looked very far. But we were discussing the Uganda we want.
And how we want to develop it.
And how we would want to develop it. And that's what we put, but we started with the code of conduct of NRA. It is tougher than the 10 commandments.
Your code of conduct.
Our code of conduct, even if it is still with the UPDF, it is tougher than the 10 commandments. Because we wanted to start to create, now I am coming to the Uganda I want in charge in relation to government, in relation to policies, in relation to things. It should be the pro-people policy, pro-people government, pro-people leaders, pro-people soldiers, pro-people policemen, pro-people judges, not just to judge a case just because you want money, when it is against the whole society. All those, even the constitution is very clear. Even judgment should be in the public interest. So, that deliberate effort of whatever you are doing, do it for the Uganda we want, for the people.
Pro-people.
Pro-people. That's what determined our doctrine was a pro-people army. Number one.
Is it still?
It is. It is. And that whoever is violating it is violating our code, is violating our principles, and we shall deal with him. And he knows we have our tough rules. We have not yet diluted them. No. And we punish them very harshly because we want to keep that value. The values that will make a happy Uganda, that will make a peaceful Uganda, that will make what will strengthen. So that's why we need to take more time. And I'm glad you are using now media, which can reach more people, for us to continuously discuss the values, the spiritual values, the military values of a pro-people army, the pro-people leaders' values. We used to teach a subject, even of how our cadres should live with difficult bosses. You could have a difficult boss, but we teach you values of a moral character, of how you can deal with bad people. The Christians, Jesus told them, you will not stop them from living with them. Be with them, but don't be of them.
You can live with them.
You can live with them, but don't be of them.
Meaning don't do what they are doing.
Don't do what they are doing. Continue mobilizing them. Continue teaching them. Continue winning them over. And that's what made, and to me, this is my lifetime commitment. I want to take this opportunity to tell Ugandans that let each of us who have some knowledge, because we are what we know, some of us know a little bit more than others, of the values that made us who we are, of values that made Uganda better, of values that we are sure will make Uganda succeed, of values that will strengthen your police of the mind, so that even when you are alone, you don't sign that paper which is corrupt. You don't take the bribe knowing all sins. We do them well knowing.
No sin that you do unknowingly.
You don't do sin unknowingly. You know that this is against the rules, this is against the society, you do it.
Even those who are corrupt, they know that what they are doing is wrong. They do it
willingly. It is all with knowledge. So that police of the mind is what will make Uganda a better Uganda. And also, you see, understanding, like I go back to the point of the beginning, of what a blessed country we have. If you have knowledge of the knowledge you have, of the beauty you have, of the values you have, of the wealth you have, then you protect the environment, you protect the beautiful image, you protect the tourist industry, you protect the factories which have been put in place. You don't spoil them. Nor do you spoil the way you speak. You know, there are people who speak poison. Poison to young people, poison to the minds of others instead of strengthening their moral values. For them, they are putting their hatred, they are putting their killing, they are inciting the public to fight. That one
so
is what is not the Uganda we want.
Okay.
The Uganda we want is that one which is keeping everyone on a right course, which will benefit everyone. And when you don't commit sin, you do things which are of a spiritual gift. Everything you do will be blessing everyone. And actually the Bible says, of those there is even no need for law. I can quote you the Bible.
When everyone is doing
Galatians chapter 5.
You know, you've read the Bible.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 16 to 23, gives the two sides of the negative life of when you when you follow the flesh. It has their gifts, a list of them, all bad, sexual immorality, drunkenness, hatred, lawlessness. Then it gives you the other gifts
of the spirit.
Of the spirit. Love is number 1.
Again.
Joy is number 2. Peace is number 3. Forbearing and so on. Goodness, kindness. And at the end of it, they say
self-control.
And self-control. And it says that of these, there is no law. You don't need courts, you don't need police, you don't need the judges if you follow those. And that's a choice. So that's the choice, that's the type of education. Those are the choices we would like Ugandans to have. The Uganda we want is if we keep, that's why I like the freedom of worship, the freedom of expression, the freedom of the media. As long as you are not helping, you know, you can use media for the fruits of the flesh. Much of the pornography, all that is all about sexual immorality. A lot of that aspect has taken over the young generation. So the Uganda we want is the one which emphasizes the most valuable things. And the most valuable things are those which strengthen the police of the mind, are those which make you save the environment.
Okay.
The environment is for all of us. It doesn't know your party, it does not know your tribe, it does not know your education level. The environment, for example, is a good common uniting factor. The Uganda we want is where we are saving this environment to keep it beautiful as it is and even make it better than just worsen it because of greed. I have been watching, we have been having a dry season recently in our area. We really kill the environment by overgrazing. Because we want many cows, we overgraze and the land becomes bare, and then eventually the cows start dying, even those which we love, just because
overgrazing.
Just as an example.
Yeah, I think it's deforestation. You know,
cutting the trees,
cutting down trees,
and burning them all for cash.
Erosion.
If you see the charcoal business is booming, and just because we want quick money, it has gone very far. All these weapons, all the weapons which human beings have manufactured are meant against human beings. They are not meant against animals or what. All weapons, from the arrow
are targeting the people
to the nuclear, now to medicine, are targeting fellow human beings. And
all medicine or
medicine, most of it now, people, some not more,
because
there is medicine which is for common good. Much of the medicine is for common good, but those few who want to take advantage of human diseases for greed are misusing them, are keeping some diseases around which could even be cured, like malaria. Malaria can be completely, many countries wiped it out. If you wiped out malaria from sub-Saharan Africa, That's one thing with Uganda I want is a malaria-free Uganda and Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa is the biggest, and all other countries eradicated malaria using one method. So the Uganda we want is, even in terms of health, is the one which emphasizes prevention rather than wait to be sick and then you try to do the cure and do it under so terrible circumstances when you are not in control.
Well, Jeno, thank you for speaking to us. We've got to keep it right here because of our time. Our viewers and our listeners, the first part of this program, The Uganda We Want, with Jeno Elly Tumwiine, has to stop here. And we will return with him with part 2, The Uganda We Want, part 2. But of course, we encourage you to continue viewing and listening, viewing Dream TV and listening to Impact FM. This is the Uganda we want. My name is Robert Mlanzi.